नमस्कार। श्री रामकृष्ण कथामृत। तव कथामृतं तप्त जीवनं कविभिरीडितं कल्मषापहं श्रवणमंगलं श्रीमदारतं भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः। श्री रामकृष्ण कथामृतो प्रथम भाग पंचम खंडो और द्वितीय परिच्छेद. The second chapter of the fifth section of first volume of Sri Ramakrishna Kathamrita, the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna in Bengali. And this is on 29th of March 1883. Brahmo devotees Sri Jukto Amrut and Sri Jukto Trailokya, they have come. M is also there, and some other Brahmo devotees also, and they are going to have a wonderful talk with Sri Ramakrishna. Now, Trailokya, he is a great singer. Sri Ramakrishna loves his singing, and he sings at the Brahmo Samaj, and he has mesmerized so many Brahmo devotees with his beautiful devotional singing the glories of the Lord. So Sri Ramakrishna is extremely happy to have him at Dakshineshwar, because there will be singing and dancing and chanting the Lord's name, the glories of the Mother. So that is what this fifth section is going to be about. And what has happened is, we have seen earlier that Sri Ramakrishna was very much worried about Rakhal's health. Rakhal was not well, and the moment he told him, you maybe you should take we will giving soda water to Rakhal, bring some relief to him. And then Sri Ramakrishna told him, better you take some prasad of Lord Jagannath. And immediately mentioning of Lord Jagannath and seeing his beloved child Rakhal, the cowherd boy from Vrindavan, the childhood friend of Sri Krishna, he is sitting here in the form of his beloved child, his spiritual son Rakhal, and Sri Ramakrishna gets into samadhi. Now slowly he is coming down from that plane of samadhi, from that ecstasy. And what has happened? A Bengali person has entered the room, and he has taken his seat in the room on the floor. He is wearing ochre robes. He is wearing the Gerua cloth. And Sri Ramakrishna, seeing him as just he is coming down to the normal plane, he watches this person, and he realizes, Sri Ramakrishna realizes that this person is not a sannyasi. He is not a sannyasi, and still he is wearing Gerua. And then Sri Ramakrishna asks him, that why this Gerua? Why this attire of a sannyasi? This is not good. Attire of sannyasi without taking sannyasa, without renouncing the worldly life, without getting into the vows of monasticism. He's not a monastic for that matter, and he's wearing Gerua. So Sri Ramakrishna expresses his displeasure, and he said, not even in fun one should commit any falsity. One should not adhere to falsehood, even in in play, in dramas, or even as a fun. One should never get into that, because if you keep on doing it, you will get habituated. And then Sri Ramakrishna says, first of all, the mind is not totally detached from the worldly pleasures. Mone ashokti মাঝে মাঝে পতন হচ্ছে, আর বাহিরে গেরুয়া. You are still not detached. People still have attachment to worldly enjoyment, and that results in occasional downfall from the highest pedestal. And with this kind of happening, with this kind of attitude, outwardly people, they like to wear the ochre robes. And then Sri Ramakrishna says, Bodo Bhoyamkur, It is extremely dreadful. It is extremely dangerous to put on ochre robes, to put on the garb of a sannyasi while the mind is dwelling on the sense objects. Now, that was where we had finished our reading, the previous reading. And coming to this, I'm reminded, I just recently I read almost a similar instance in the life of our Ma also. That this is, narrated in the Gospel of the Holy Mother. The incident is on page number 65, which are the reminiscences recorded by Sarayu Bala Devi in the Gospel of Holy Mother. Now, almost similar instance here, that unknown Bengali person had come, although not a monastic, although not a sannyasi, come with the ochre robes put on. And let us see, I mean, exactly the similar thing happened in the life of our Ma also. A woman dressed in an ochre robe worshipped Mother and placed 2 rupees near her feet. The mother said, "Goodness, why should you do that? You have put on the ochre robe. You have Rudraksha beads on your arm." So mother took her to be a sannyasini, a nun. The mother asked her about her spiritual teacher. That what is your lineage, from whom you have taken mantra diksha and sannyasa diksha and all that. Ma casually asked that lady who had come wearing that gerua. In reply, the woman said that she had not been initiated. And then Ma tells her, without initiation and without any spiritual realization, you have put on this sacred robe. It is a very sacred garment, very sacred ornament, the gerua. This is not proper for you. The robe you have put on is very holy. I was about to salute you with folded hands and will bow down at your feet. You must acquire the power to assimilate the honor. See? Without complete renunciation, without getting detached from the worldly enjoyments, if people just in a whimsical manner, they put on the ochre robes, they put on the gerua cloth, even the divinities, divine people like Thakur and Ma, they get uh, befooled by that outer garment. What is this? Like Mother Ma is telling, I was about to bow down before you, and that would have created such a harm to that wearer of the ochre robe, while she was not a sannyasini. So that is the almost the similar incident from our Ma's life that I recently had read, and coincidentally, I don't know whether coincidentally or it was to happen, we read this particular incident in Thakur's life. Well, now let us carry on with our reading from the second chapter. Sri Ramakrishna is telling about his experience কেশবের বাড়ি গমন ও নববৃন্দাবন দর্শন, that a visit to Keshav's house and watching the Navavrindavan drama. Now, Sri Ramakrishna says, এমনকি যারা সৎ, অভিনয়েও তাদের মিথ্যা কথা বা কাজ ভালো নয়. Sri Ramakrishna says the point is that even while acting in a play, even while you are performing a role, you are acting a role in the play, the virtuous people should not use false words or do anything that is contrary to truth. That is not truth. The virtuous people should not get into that kind of the enacting those kind of roles where they have to use false words or they have to do some acts which are not originally true. So Sri Ramakrishna cautions this should not happen. And then he says, Keshav Sener ওখানে নববৃন্দাবন নাটক দেখতে গিয়েছিলাম. Says, I had gone there. I went to Keshav's house to watch the play Navavrindavan, the modern Vrindavan. Some Brahmo must have written the script, and other Brahmo devotees enacted that play. And then he said, what was there in that play? Ki ekta onle cross, abar jol chodate laglo, bole shanti jol. And then he said, in that drama, Navavrindavan, the modern Vrindavan, what was happening? A person brought something on the stage called cross. And then he began to sprinkle water, saying, this is the holy water. This is the water of peace, Shanti Jol. একজন দেখি মাতাল সেজে মাতলামি করছে. And then he says, in that drama, one fellow, I saw that person staggering around like a drunkard, like acting like intoxicated drunkard. And Sri Ramakrishna says that if these actors are enacting a play called Vrindavan, which is Vrindavan is the great, divine playground of Lord Krishna, associated with the divinity of Lord Krishna, right from his infancy, from his childhood. The divine play of Radha and Krishna, of the gopis and Krishna, of all those the cowherd boys. Rakhal was sitting there. So that was the concept of Vrindavan. And now in this particular play, which was enacted at Keshav Chandra Sen's house, Nava Vrindavan, what is happening? A person comes on the stage with a cross in his hand, and another person and starts sprinkling water, saying, this is Shanti Jhol. What is this? This is no way connected to Vrindavan. And then another person, he is enacting as if he is just staggering. Matal seje matlami koreche, as if intoxicated, and as if fully drunk. That fellow is just staggering. Is this the drama called Vrindavan? That is what Sri Ramakrishna's objection to it. He says, no. Even in drama, even in dramatics, even in plays, you should never act contrary to the truth. You should never speak of lies. So why to do that? Always stick to the truth. Not even in play, not even in game, not even in fun. You get away from truth. Stick to the truth. And then one Brahmo devotee, he says, who had enacted that role? One Brahmo Bhakto, Ku Babu. He was acting that role. But Sri Ramakrishna was not interested to know who has acted and all that. He didn't like that concept at all. Then Sri Ramakrishna says, ভক্তের পক্ষে ও রূপ সাজাও ভালো নয়, ও সব বিষয় মন অনেকক্ষণ ফেলে রাখায় দোষ হয়ে. Sri Ramakrishna says, it is not good for a devotee to even play such a part. Forget about getting drunk and getting actually intoxicated. Why a devotee should enact that kind of, the role, that kind of character, even in drama? Why? Keeping the mind, ও সব বিষয় মন অনেকক্ষণ ফেলে রাখায় দোষ হয়. অনেকক্ষণ ফেলে রাখায় দোষ হয়. What happens? Keeping the mind on such matters. Somebody just bringing cross, sprinkling water, and saying it is a Shanti jal, it is a water of peace, it is holy water. And then suddenly the person acting as if he is, badly drunk, intoxicated. He says, Sri Ramakrishna says, keeping the mind on such matters. ও সব বিষয় মন অনেকক্ষণ ফেলে রাখায় দোষ হয়. If you keep on dwelling on such matters, constantly. Now you are performing a drama. During rehearsals you must be enacting that particular part maybe hundreds of times, n number of times during rehearsals and the practice sessions. So constantly dwelling on those kind of aspects, on those kinds of, it brings harm. Dosh hoy. Don't do that. Don't do that even in fun. মন ধোপা ধরের কাপড় যে রঙে ছোপাবে সেই রঙে হয়ে যায়. The mind, a person's mind is like a fresh white cloth. Dhopa ghorer kapod, it has come fresh, dyed white, no color. Now, je ronge chopabe, whichever color you dip that white cloth, that brand new white cloth which has come to you, shei rongo hoi jaye, that cloth will get the stick up the same color. This example Sri Ramakrishna had earlier also given to us. You put it in red, it becomes red. You put it in green, it becomes green. You put it in yellow, it becomes yellow. You put it in blue, it becomes blue. So that is our mind. So don't get this mind even in fun, even in play, even just we have this habit of saying just like that I did it. Thakur says no, not just like that. Never do it, because if you keep doing it again and again and again, your mind will definitely take up that attitude only. It is a white cloth after all. It is a brand new spick and span white cloth you have brought from the store. Now you take it to the dyer, and you put it in any kind of dye. The white cloth will take up that color. You put it in gerua, the white cloth will turn to gerua. মন ধোপা ঘুরের কাপড় যে রঙে ছোপাবে সেই রঙ হয়ে যায়. মিথ্যাতে অনেকক্ষণ ফেলে রাখলে মিথ্যার রঙ ধরে যায়. If you dwell on the falsity, falsehood, untruth for a long time, automatically the cloth will pick up all those attitudes of falsehood, untruth. That is what happens. The color, it will take the color of falsehood. And then Sri Ramakrishna says, Arek din Nimai Sanyas Keshaber Badite Dekte Gichilam. And one more day I had gone to Keshav's house to see another drama. Nimai Sanyas, the renunciation of Sri Chaitanya. Nimai is Sri Chaitanya, the play depicting sannyasa of Sri Chaitanya. Now there what was happening? যাত্রাটি কেশবের কতকগুলো খোসা মধ্যে শিষ্য জোটে খারাপ করেছে. And then he says that some flattering disciples of Brahmo Samaj of Keshav, just because of their nature of flattering, they had spoiled that entire drama of Sri Chaitanya's sannyasa. Sri Chaitanya sannyasa is such a divine, such a powerful topic to spread the message of renunciation, to spread the message of detachment. And Sri Ramakrishna says, all those flatterers of Keshav, they just spoiled that drama. How they spoiled? একজন কেশবকে বললে, কলির চৈতন্য হচ্ছেন আপনি. One fellow, a flatterer, people can go to any extent of flattering a person. So one fellow In that drama, he spoke about He told Keshav, "You are the Chaitanya." After seeing that drama and all, he says to Keshav Chandra Sen, "You are the Chaitanya of Kali Yuga. You are Mahaprabhu Chaitanya. You are Lord Chaitanya of this Kali Yuga." Hmm. Now, কেশব আমার দিকে চেয়ে হাসতে হাসতে বললে, "তাহলে ইনি কি হলেন?" Then Sri Ramakrishna says, and Keshav, he smilingly, laughingly, the moment that flatter told Keshav that you look like a Chaitanya of the Kali Yuga. Then Sri Keshav Chandra Sen, smilingly, laughingly, he asked that person, and what about him? If you are calling me as Chaitanya of Kali Yuga, what about him? What about Ramakrishna Paramahansa? So that is what Keshav reacted when that person addressed him like this. And then Sri Ramakrishna says, "Ami bollom, ami tomader dasher dash, renur renu, Keshaber lokmanya hobar ichha chilo." Sri Ramakrishna said, I told Keshav, me? I mean, look at that fellow has told you, you are the Chaitanya, Lord Chaitanya of Kali Yuga, and you are asking me, what about him? He says, Sri Ramakrishna says, I told him, I am the servant of your servants. I am an insignificant person. I am the dust of your dust. I am the dust of your feet. I am insignificant. I am no great person. I am just mother's child. I am servant of your servants. Look at the humility of Sri Ramakrishna. Look at the humbleness. Look at the simplicity of this simple child of the Divine Mother. And then Sri Ramakrishna says, after all, Keshaber Lokumanno Hobar Ichha Chilo. He had desire for that name and fame. Keshav Chandra Sen had that desire for name and fame. He became a big man, yes. Because he had that desire. And what about me? Sri Ramakrishna says, what about me? I'm just a servant of your servant. I am the dust of your feet. Insignificant. I am lowly. Yes. I don't yearn anything. I don't have any, interest for the name and fame. That is, Sri Ramakrishna was very much, he kept himself so away from the name and fame. But, like it is said, that as sun starts rising, can anybody stop its glory? No. The sun's sparkling, the sun's beauty, it will automatically be proclaimed to the entire world that yes, the sun has risen. Nobody has to make an effort to proclaim that greatness, to proclaim that glory. That was the condition of Sri Ramakrishna. So Sri Ramakrishna has told us again in this that we should not adhere to falsehood. If we are not renunciates, if we have not renounced the desires for worldly enjoyments, it is no good wearing the ochre robes. It is no good wearing the gerua. In fact, it will be bodo bhayankar. It will be highly dreadful. So that was Sri Ramakrishna's teaching, and his the experience of watching all those plays where the pious and divine aspect of Vrindavan was played on stage in that manner, that some person bringing cross and sprinkling water, saying this is peace water, Shanti Jol, and then the person enacting as if he is fully drunk and all that. See, Ramakrishna says, no. Even in drama, don't enact the roles. Don't bring in falsehood even while acting a drama. Don't bring in falsehood even in fun games. Nothing doing. So that was the teaching for today, and tomorrow in our next reading we are going to hear something wonderful about Sri Ramakrishna speaking about the nature of his beloved children, the immensely pure at heart, pure to the core children like Noren, Rakhal, and all these young boys who are going to be the great, the asset, yeah, under in coming days of establishing the Ramakrishna order. So Sri Ramakrishna is going to talk about that pure, pious, and absolutely spick and span, stainless nature of these young boys. Not like the person who is not renounced, who has not renounced, who is still attached to lust and greed, but wearing ochre. So, in contrast to that, we are going to hear about Norain and Rakhal and other young boys that are so beloved to Sri Ramakrishna just because of their immensely pure nature. So, that we will have the reading of that portion tomorrow. As of now, Om Namah Shri Bhagavate Ramakrishnaaya. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Jai Thakur, Jai Ma, Jai Swamiji.